Then you got Deshaun Watson coming back, who we haven't seen play in years.
And I love the weapons that he has around him. When you look at the running back room, the tight end, Harold Fannin Jr., the year he had as a rookie season.
Deshaun Watson is walking back into a Browns quarterback room after 2 years without taking a real NFL snap. 2 Achilles tears, 2 full seasons lost. And while everybody keeps talking about whether he can even hold on to the job, almost nobody is talking about what that absence actually did. It cleared a runway. It put a full season of tape, a full season of trust, and a stacked group of skill players directly in front of Shedeur Sanders. This isn't just a quarterback competition anymore. It's a look at exactly what the Browns built around him while Watson was rehabbing. Let's get into it. Start with the basic math here. Deshaun Watson signed for $230 million fully guaranteed, and since that deal, the Browns have barely gotten a healthy season out of him. 2 Achilles tears back-to-back wiped out essentially all of 2025. That's not a bad game. That's not a slump. That's a player who has been physically absent from the building for a full calendar year while the rest of the roster kept moving. And here's the part that gets buried. Analysts on Get Up pointed out that it's actually rare for an NFL team to walk into training camp with a genuine, undecided quarterback competition. Usually there's a veteran already penciled in, or a high draft pick everybody knows is getting the keys eventually. Cleveland is the exception. Because of Watson's injury and because Shedeur is a younger player with real upside, this is being called a legitimate, real competition, not a formality. Think about what that means for a second. Every other team with a $200 million quarterback would hand him the job the moment he's cleared. Cleveland can't do that with a straight face because the version of Watson walking back into that building hasn't proven he's still that guy. Meanwhile, Shedeur finished last season on a high note, reportedly showed up for every voluntary and mandatory off-season session, and by all accounts has been putting in the work the whole time Watson's been rehabbing. So when people frame this as Watson's job to lose, they're skipping over the actual situation. This is a coaching staff under brand new head coach Todd Monken that has to make a real evaluation instead of a default decision. And real evaluations open doors that don't usually open in the NFL.
Well, listen, we're starting, and so we're going to start these quarterback competitions. How about it in Cleveland? You know, it's very rare that a team goes into the regular season or training camp, and it's a true competition at quarterback. There's often a veteran that's, come in, that's kind of penciled in as the starter, or, there's a high round draft pick, and everybody knows at some point it's going to be handed over to that guy. But Cleveland, because of the situation with Watson's injury.
Hold on, because this is where it actually gets interesting. It's not just that the door opened, it's what was waiting on the other side of it. Here's the part most people get wrong about where this competition actually stands. When the coaching staff's offseason began, the early lean was toward Watson, mainly because the front office was excited to finally see him healthy again after all that time away. That's the natural instinct. You paid a guy $230 million guaranteed, you want him on the field. But that excitement runs into a problem. Deshaun Watson hasn't played meaningful snaps in years, not months, years. And no matter how clean his rehab looks in shorts during OTAs, there is no substitute for live reps against a real defense. Shedeur, on the other hand, has actual recent starts, actual recent production, and reportedly has performed well throughout this entire offseason, enough that it's genuinely turned into a question mark instead of a formality. That shift matters. According to people who cover this team closely, these true head-to-head quarterback battles tend to show up in Cleveland more than almost anywhere else in the league. The organization has been through quarterback uncertainty before, and they know how to handle it without just defaulting to the bigger name or the bigger contract. And there's a sharper question sitting underneath all of it. What does Cleveland actually gain by starting Deshaun Watson right now, this year, coming off 2 Achilles tears, if the alternative is a younger quarterback who already bridged the gap last season and has a full year of continuity with this coaching staff and these weapons? That's not a hot take. That's the actual argument being made by people inside these conversations.
And the quarterback position is fascinating because you have Shedeur, who finished the season good and apparently was at all the mandatory stuff and all the voluntary stuff. Then you got Deshaun Watson coming back, who we haven't seen play in years. What do you make of it, and who do you think would actually be taking center snaps week one?
Week one, boy, flip a coin, man.
Right?
I'm going to say probably Deshaun Watson, but I believe my understanding is Shedeur Sanders has the opportunity to win the job.
Now let's talk about the part of this that Watson's absence actually revealed. Because it's not just about who's healthier, it's about who this roster was actually built for. While Deshaun Watson was rehabbing 2 Achilles tears, the Browns front office wasn't standing still. They were building. And the group they built is exactly why this weapons on full display angle matters so much right now. Start with the backfield. The Browns have a running back room that analysts are genuinely excited about, the kind of depth and talent that takes pressure off a quarterback instead of adding to it. Then there's Harold Fannin Jr. at tight end, who put together a real breakout rookie season, the kind of tight end production that gives a young quarterback a reliable outlet on early downs and in the red zone. But the biggest piece is what happened at receiver. The Browns didn't just add one weapon this offseason, they drafted 2 receivers in the first and second rounds. 2. That's not a patch job, that's a front office building a passing offense around whoever wins that job. And the analysts covering this team have been blunt about it. Let those young players keep developing. Let them build with a quarterback who already has continuity with this staff, instead of resetting the clock with a quarterback who hasn't played football in years. Here's the thing about weapons like this. They don't mean much if the quarterback throwing to them is inconsistent or unfamiliar with the system. Shedeur finished last season strong, has been through this coaching staff's off-season program, and reportedly is thriving in that environment. Watson, for all his talent before the injuries, is walking into a version of this offense and this receiver room that he has never actually played with. That gap is real, and it's exactly why so many people watching this camp keep coming back to the same conclusion. The weapons were built for continuity, and right now, Shedeur is the one who has it.
That point. I think I want to see Shedeur Sanders, and I love the weapons that he has around him. When you look at the running back room, the tight end, Harold Fannin Jr., the year he had as a rookie season, but also they drafted 2 phenomenal receivers in the first round and second round. Let those young players, in my opinion, continue to build and see what you have for 2026. I don't think it should be Deshaun Watson. Now, if he goes out there on the football field and he wins the job, that's a different story. But Shedeur Sanders, I'm banking on being the quarterback and really thriving under Todd Monken.
And here's the part that turns this from a quarterback battle into a countdown clock. This is bigger than just this one season, and that's what makes Watson's absence different. Around the league right now, there's a real conversation about teams that are still dealing with unresolved quarterback situations, and the Browns are near the top of that list. Both the Browns and the Jets are sitting on multiple first-round picks next year. Multiple. That means if this competition doesn't get settled the way Shedeur's camp wants it settled, the front office has every tool it needs to simply go get another quarterback in next year's draft and start the clock over completely. That's the now or never piece. This isn't a rookie sitting behind a guy for 2 or 3 years while he develops on the side. This is a young quarterback who has already proven he can play, sitting in a window that might not exist again if this year doesn't go his way. And ironically, the exact thing that was supposed to block that window, Deshaun Watson's return, is the thing that's actually shrinking it. Watson doesn't have 2 clean, healthy years of tape backing him up right now. He has 2 years away from the field and a body that has to prove it can hold up again. So you put it all together, a quarterback with 2 Achilles tears and years of rust walking into a room with a $230 million price tag on his back. A younger quarterback who already won games last season, already has a real rapport with this coaching staff, and already has one of the most talented supporting casts in the entire league sitting right in front of him, and a front office with the draft capital to move on from either of them next year if this doesn't work out. Watson's injury didn't just open a competition, it puts every single advantage Shedeur has directly under the spotlight, at the exact moment it matters most.
To watch with this year's, NFL with some of these teams that have quarterback issues, whether the Jets or the Browns. Jets and Browns have multiple first-round picks next year, so it might be for Shedeur this could be now or never.
Yeah.
Go and do it now because next year they're getting a quarterback.
Yeah, like maybe the guy that just left that was here talking with you.
You're right. That
Martin
CJ
Freeman.
Carr was impressive.
So think about everything you just heard. The injury, the weapons, the clock ticking on next year's draft. Now let's bring it all together. Here's where this actually stands.
Deshaun Watson is coming off 2 Achilles tears and hasn't played meaningful football in years. That absence is exactly why this competition is real instead of a formality. While he was out, the Browns front office built a running back room people are excited about, added a tight end coming off a real breakout year, and used a first and a second-round pick on 2 receivers. Shedeur Sanders finished last season strong, has been fully locked in through this offseason program, and already has continuity with a brand-new coaching staff. And with both the Browns and the Jets holding multiple first-round picks next year, this window for Shedeur isn't guaranteed to stay open. Deshaun Watson's injury didn't just create a competition, it's the reason this entire supporting cast is on full display for whoever wins the job. So here's the real question heading into camp. Deshaun Watson has the name, the contract, and now the health clearance, but Shedeur Sanders has the recent tape, the continuity, and one of the best young supporting casts in the league sitting right in front of him. Given everything Watson's absence exposed about this roster, do you think the Browns hand this job to the $230 million arm, or do they ride with the guy who's already earned it? Drop your pick in the comments, smash like, and subscribe.